Hey, so I did a market update on Saturday, and I put a lot of effort into it and how I would talk about the different subjects, and it really just it didn't feel right. And the reason why is in the past it's always been okay to do a market update on a month to month basis because that's how the information in real estate is disseminated. Most the MLSs which we get our information from put that stuff out a month at a time in arrears. Well, everything's developing very quickly right now in the real estate marketplace, and it didn't feel like I could catch up to it on a month to month basis. So what I've decided to start doing is I'm going to actually uh, be doing a weekly market update for the greater metro Atlanta area, about what I'm seeing with trends regarding listings on the market, number of solds, and then values of homes on the market. So I put together this little presentation. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go ahead and dive into this. So I'm going to start with the active number of listings on the market in this picture right here. So slide one shows number of active listings and that the volume of listings is staying relatively consistent with about 14,000 homes currently active across Cobb County, Cherokee, Decatur, Fulton, and Gwinnett. I'm focusing on kind of these regions as a greater metro Atlanta area to kind of catch everything. This is a good demonstration of the general trends with listing volume in the greater Atlanta marketplace. This starts January 2019, and you can kind of see what a normal year would look like through peak season, and then it kind of falls off towards November and December. January, we had a real early pop. January is typically a lot lower than what this is, followed up with a pretty solid February. March was great. And we're actually having a pretty good April. Now, the data for April is still incomplete as of the time of this video, which is April 20th. And we still have 10 days left to go for final data to be gathered for the month. It'll be interesting to check back after May 1st to see if we stayed on track with the volume we saw in March. In slide two, we take a look at the average list price for the same areas. Again, it's Cherokee County, Cobb, Decatur, Fulton, and Gwinnett. Overall, we are still seeing a very normal, very strong trend. We have yet to see any real disruption caused by the pandemic when it comes to the value of homes. I know that for the most part, values of homes are still holding very strong, and sellers are getting between 98% to 102% of what they are asking for their homes for when they go to sell. Again, the data for the month of April is incomplete, but I don't suspect we are going to see a sharp decline in home values anytime soon. More than likely, I predict that home values will continue to go up in certain areas. We may see the price increase kind of flatten out, but I'm okay with that because that means we're still not losing money on our investments. Now, this is cause for concern for a lot of real estate agents. In slide three is where we get to see the most immediate reaction to the pandemic, and this is what has a lot of real estate agents worried for their careers. This is the number of sales that have occurred each month since January 2019 through April 20th, 2020. It is the truth that we've seen a sharp decline so far for the month. In March, we saw around 4,300 closed transactions for the areas I described before. As of today's date, we're looking at around 1,400 homes making it to closing. But it's super important to take this in context. I'd like to make three key points. The data for April is incomplete, so we'll see this number increase substantially by the end of the month, especially since historically many try to time their closings on the last business day to take advantage of tax and interest payment prorations. I'm hoping that this number is going to be closer to 3,000 by the end of the month. If we can break 3,300, that's great. So point number two, if you compare the month of March's complete data with the number of listing and the number of solds for both 2019 and 2020, we have seen a sharp decline there due to health concerns related to the pandemic. And it's obvious there are buyers out there and there are sellers out there that are simply not interested in the risk of exposure when you list a property or when you're going out to view homes. But that doesn't mean that the market is a bad market to buy or sell from a value perspective. Real estate is still gaining value over time, so it's still a great investment, right along with gold and silver. It just means that the marketplace has gotten a little bit more limited for buyers and sellers to select each other. Point number three is if you have a seller or a buyer in this marketplace, the good news is that they're going to be well motivated and eager to make a deal on both sides of the table. It will be interesting to check back on May 1st to see if we get a pop in closings at the end of the month like normal. 20 years of experience makes me feel like it will, and we won't be so bad off. So just to kind of sum up everything from this week's analysis, generally speaking, while the situation around the pandemic should be monitored closely, I don't yet believe it is cause for alarm. It just demonstrates that more than ever, it's important to work with an agent who is detail focused and extremely competent. Pricing is very important to bullseye on the first try because you have a limited opportunity to capture the buyers that are out there. You also need a really aggressive buyer's agent to be able to identify the deals that are out there and make wise decisions for you when you are purchasing. There's different areas that are being affected in different ways during this. This presentation took about 3 hours to put together. It's pretty quick, but I wanted to make sure that I really knew my stuff. So if you can give me a like or share at the end of this video, I'd really appreciate it. And I also wanted to say a little bit about safety. We've been working very diligently at Century 21 Connect to create a safe experience for this pandemic. Please take a look at the Century 21 Connect buyer protocol that I've attached either linked or next to this video. As always, please be safe out there. Wash your hands, and I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you next week, actually. Bye.